Konnichiwa minasan! Welcome back to my channel. I am Reina Scully, coming to you from Japan. You are watching part 2 of my Japanese superstition series where we will go over Shinto or supernatural based superstitions. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, which is specifically about practical folk wisdom, I suggest checking that out before diving into this video. Now, on to more MEISHIN or Japanese superstitions. To begin, I'd first like to note that our general superstitions are very different from our Shinto rituals that we perform during things like New Year's and the spring equinox. Those are more like very specified traditional rituals, and I would never consider them to be Japanese superstitions. As mentioned in part 1, a bunch of Japanese meishin are actually just derivatives of those Shinto rituals that have become super simplified and made their way into daily etiquette. That being said, a bunch of Shinto-based meishin have a lot to do with death and funerals and how not to attract negative spirits. So the first one is simple. 赤字で人の名前を書いてはいけない。赤字で人の名前を書いてはいけない, which translates to do not write a person's name in red ink. This is mainly because we write our full names in red ink on graves that are built on our behalf while we're still alive. So in Japan, there is no other circumstance where you would ever see your name written in red ink. There are other symbolic and more modern reasons as well. For example, Japanese people were notified that they were being drafted into war via red papers. They were technically pink, but we consider them red. The second one is 霊柩車の前では親指を隠す。霊柩車の前では親指を隠す. And that translates to hide your thumbs if you see a hearse. And you actually want to do this by covering your thumbs with all your other fingers and making this like weird fist. The word thumbs in Japanese is OYAYUBI, which translates literally to parent finger. So by hiding them, you are protecting your parents from any negative lingering spirits that may or may not be around the hearse. So by doing that, you are preventing your parents from dying early. I think this is pretty similar to holding your breath when passing a cemetery. I know a lot of Americans do that. The third one is 北枕で寝てはいけない。北枕で寝てはいけない, which translates to do not sleep with your pillow facing north, which really just means don't sleep facing north because that is how we lay our deceased. If you lay that way, the spirits are gonna think you are already dead and therefore they will come and get you. Interestingly enough, I noticed this while writing this script, but there are no bedrooms in my house or my parents' house or my grandparents' house that faces north. And even if there is a room that faces north, it is almost impossible or highly impractical to face your futon that way. So the houses are almost built naturally to prevent you from doing such a thing. I thought that was cool. And the next one is called UTSUSHI. UTSUSHI is the act of transferring something directly from chopstick to another chopstick. You do not want to do this with food or with anything because we only ever do this when we are transferring the cremated remains of our deceased into their urn. So you never want to do this with food. If you want to share your food, you want to either put your food directly onto your friend's plate or have them pick it up directly from your plate. I was told that I would see unwanted spirits if I ever did this, but all silliness aside, this is a very, very strictly followed table manner here in Japan, and it is extremely disrespectful to accidentally do such a thing. So try to remember not to do it if you ever visit Japan. If you think about it, even transferring food directly from fork to fork is really impractical and super bizarre, so I feel like this is not too difficult to avoid. Speaking of chopsticks, you never want to stick your chopsticks directly vertically into your food so that it is facing up. That is actually called tatebashi or hotokebashi or makurameshi. That respectively translates to standing chopsticks, Buddha chopsticks, and pillow food. And we only do this when we are offering that food to the deceased. This is another steadfast and strict rule that we all abide by, so if you want to put your chopsticks down, just place them flat in front of you. Now, let's move on to numbers. I feel like a lot of you might know this already, but the number 4 is considered very unlucky in Japanese superstition because the number 4 can be pronounced as shi, which is homophonous with the word for death. And number 9 is also considered to be very unlucky in Japan, and this is because 9 can be pronounced as ku, which is homophonous with the word for pain and suffering. So as much as these numbers are considered unlucky, there is far less influence and dictation over our daily lives in comparison to stuff like chopstick etiquette, and that is simply because it's very, very difficult to avoid numbers in your everyday life. And that is it for part 2 of Japanese superstition, specifically going over Shinto and supernatural-based superstitions. I really hope you enjoyed it, and please let me know in the comments if you happen to know any of them, and also please let me know of any superstitions from your country or culture. The final video on Japanese superstitions will be a lot more lighthearted and a lot sillier and have very little to do with bad omens, and I'll make it more about sayings and like non-philosophical adages, so I feel like it'll be a lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will otherwise see you in my next video. そんじゃまたね! Like the spring equinox. What? There are other symbolic and more modern reason, more modern. The script already? Parental thing? What? But, oh, or have them, it's not hard. The number 9 can be